Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. The Red Bank Charter School is under federal investigation for discrimination. Let's talk to some of the people that were at the genesis of that investigation. Lazaro Cardenas is the deputy director of the Latino Coalition of New Jersey, and Wayne Wooley is a member of Fair Schools Red Bank. Thank you so much both for being here. I said you were at the genesis of this. Explain.
Thank you for having us,
Sure.
Larry. We got a call from Red Bank parents that were concerned about the segregation that was taking place due to the charter school in Red Bank for many years. As we learned more, we decided to file a complaint jointly with the parents in Red Bank about the segregation. And fast forward, this is, the federal have decided to open an investigation into the school.
And Wayne, you have two children in the school?
I do, Larry.
And you're not Hispanic?
I'm not.
Your children aren't being discriminated against, are they?
Well, it's our contention that every child in Red Bank is being negatively impacted by the Red Bank Charter School. You know, the law is pretty clear. If you have a school, it should reflect the school-age demographics of the community. I've
seen the statistics, and that's that 81% of the population is Hispanic. Is that correct? And 39% at Red Bank. But Red Bank will counter and say that 39% of school-age children are Hispanic in the district, and we are meeting that standard.
Well, that's not accurate, Larry. The statistic, the school children are about over 80% in the schools are Latino children, versus the charter school where there's about 38, 39, 40%, somewhere around there. So no, the school children.
But they are actively saying that. You would agree with that. They are saying that they are meeting the standard because the percentage of school-age children is 39%.
It flies in the face of census statistics. They're trying. One of the things they try to do is they try to look at the, children under age 18 in a town. And what the law requires is that you look at pre-K through 8th grade, basically 3-year-olds to 13-year-olds, and essentially of that cohort, only about 20% of the children in Red Bank are white. So they have a school that's majority white. How did that happen?
Now you're mixing me up a little bit.
Okay.
So is it the Hispanic population you're concerned about, or the white population, that there's too many white in the school?
No, we're concerned that Hispanics are systematically being excluded from that school. If you're Latino and poor in Red Bank, your chances of getting into the charter school are pretty low.
Although the parents that were interviewed for stories about this said that the Hispanic parents with Hispanic children say that they were never felt discriminated against, that they were never told you shouldn't go to this school. Their enrollment was never discouraged. How does your claim hold up to what the parents are saying that are Hispanic at the school?
Well, we're actually using Department of Education statistics. We're using numbers of students enrolled, and we're comparing the enrollment in the public school versus the public charter school. And those numbers speak for themselves. If you look at the complaint that we filed, you can see that the charter schools enrolls a significantly lower number of Latinos than the public school. And not only that, if you look historically at the charter school, about 10 years ago, they were told by the Department of Education that they were segregated and that they needed to improve their enrollment of Latino and minorities. They didn't. In fact, in the past 10 years, the Latino population of Red Bank has probably doubled, if not more, while their enrollment has gone down. Their percentage of Latino enrolled in the charter schools. How do you explain that?
Well, is your fight his fight? My
fight is exactly his fight. And to go back to the Latino parents who may be enrolled in the charter school, that's great that they found those folks and they were willing to talk. But you have to remember that the majority of my fellow parents in the Red Bank public schools are Latino. And most of those folks have made it very clear that, one, they never were, there was no outreach to them. They did not know about the lottery to get into the charter school. Most are under the presumption that it was a private school. That was what had been, they had been told.
And is that in itself discriminatory?
Yes.
That they didn't do a good enough job of getting the word out?
Yes, when they're on the mandate from the state saying they must do more to integrate the school.
And the reason I asked you if your fight was his fight is because there is this fight for public schools and against charter schools. And I understand your fight, but is the way you were characterizing what you were upset about is that the public schools aren't getting as much money as the charter school.
Well, I mean, that's an additional layer. I mean, you know, to take it back to the beginning, I mean, you know, I've lived in Red Bank for 15 years. When it came time to enroll my children in schools, I looked at both schools. I went to the charter school. It was made clear to me that if I wanted my kids to go to the charter school, it was going to happen. I heard, you know, criticism of the public schools often from the people who were leading the charter school, and the phrase that kept coming up to me, that I kept hearing, was those people, which to me it meant that essentially, you know, I could protect my children from the brown children that go to the public schools.
So
if I
you
went
consciously
to the
made the
school.
decision not to send your children to the charter school.
And let's also remember, last year during a failed attempt by the charter school to expand, one of the school trustees explained that charter school was created to mitigate the effect of white flight. Those were his words.
And by the way, I do want to mention that we are going to make an offer to the charter school to come in and respond.
Sure.
Very quickly, though. Where do you expect this to go?
Well, I expect charter school to be shut down. I think they have a terrible history of segregation for many years. This isn't new. This isn't something that just happened. Like I said before, they've been put on notice 10 years ago. They continue to disregard that, and the state hasn't done anything about it either. So our expectation is that the school will be shut down. But just to make it clear, we're not opposed to all charters. I think there's a place for charters in some way. I am opposed to charters like the one in Red Bank that are using public money to segregate children.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Lazaro Cardenas, Deputy Director of the Latino Coalition of New Jersey, and Wayne Wooley is a member of the Fair Schools Red Bank. That's Jersey Matters for this week. Go to our website, jerseymatters.com, to replay segments for this show or previous shows, and leave your comments about what you've seen today on our Facebook page, or you can reach me on Twitter @LarryMenty or @Jersey Matters. We may read your thoughts on a future show. Again, I'm Larry Menti. See you next week.